Okay, got some screwdrivers here we can use. The thing says that there are 3 types of screws. One's for hard drive trays, you get 8 of. I don't know if we'll need those or not, but that's this particular bag, so put those aside for now. The other 2, they have separate ones for 3.5-inch and 2.5-inch drives, of course. Looking at it, typically 3.5 drive-inch ones I would imagine would be longer because there's more space in the drive. It looks like, according to the picture, that the 3.5 ones have the rounded heads, whereas the 2.5-inch drive screws have flat heads, i.e. these are for 3.5-inch drives. It comes with 18. I've actually found that this particular computer part is one of the hardest to get, simply because they're so incredibly common with things that if you find yourself in need of some, you may not find them, so I would definitely recommend saving these, once you have like a huge supply around. Now we're going to eventually put in 4 drives, which is times 4 screws, 16 screws, so there's 18 total theoretically. So we'll just put them all out and put 2 to the side to save. And put the other screws over there. So, going back to the directions here. Secure the tray with 4 screws. Okay, yeah, so the 3.5 ones go through the side and the 2.5-inch drives go through the bottom. So we're going to screw these in now. I don't know which screwdriver we'll have to use with these. Let me see how this works here. Yeah, that works. That's a good size. I am using a number 1 screw, obviously Phillips. Let's go ahead and get this started in here. Okay, get that screw started. Drop the extend screw. Now, probably want to be more careful than I'm being. This is where magnetic screwdrivers would come in handy if you have those. I do not. I have done things taking computers apart several times, but I have never had need of magnetic ones, though I'm sure they would have come in handy at times, and I've only installed a few internal hard drives. I've mostly done things like RAM upgrades myself, or installing additional hard drives, you know, extra DVD burner, things like that, back when you actually put several DVD burners in things. Go ahead and get all 4 of those in, make sure they're nice and tight. I'll put the camera down for just a second while I do that. Two of these are taking a little bit of convincing. The first 2 I put in, but the other 2 went in pretty smoothly. These 2 are going in just a little bit tighter. I almost wondered if I was using the wrong screws. It's so tight. This last one just does not want to... Oh no, there it goes. It just took a little bit of convincing, like I said. Okay. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that to the other drives now. And when I've had all 4 done, I will come back. I see no reason to videotape that 4 times, given that it makes it harder, and it's the same thing. So I'll be back in just a moment. Okay, so I have the 4 hard drives in the trays. They all look exactly like this, nothing special. I went ahead and looked, and the next thing it's going to have me do is to put them back in, of course. And you secure them with these longer screws here that are called... oh, it just says screws for securing the hard drive. And so basically what I've done is I've lifted this up a little farther, and now I'm going to put these in one at a time. Of course, you want to make sure that you put it in with the SATA and power connection, you know, at the back so that it'll snap in. You can kind of see it kind of snap into place there at the back. And then on the side, there's a little hole. There's one like this on each side for the screws. So I'm going to be putting all 4 of these in, and then securing all 4 with hard drive screws on the side. And that way, what I can do, that way the hard drives are extremely secure in there, because as you probably know, vibration is the death of hard drives. And, oh shit, you know, so the less vibration there is, the better. Just make sure all those are securely pushed in there and attached to the SATA ports. Check all 4 holes in the side. The top one I do not see, so that means it's probably not. There it goes. Had to push it in a little bit farther. No, I still don't see it. Maybe even more. Top one is not pushing in. Let's pull it back out just a touch and try to slide it in again. Well, that's not a good sign. Let me see what I can do about this. The top one is not sliding in for some reason. Make sure all those are in properly. And it is, of course, the correct side here. Make sure there's no obstructions or anything in there. Not that I see. So we'll try to put this thing in again. Felt a little more secure that time. Let me see if it... no, there's still not a hole there, and I can see it about to show up when I try to push it a little farther, but it's not showing up. I'm going to have to stop recording for a second, see if I can actually push this thing in all the way without hurting it. Alright, well, I did figure out the problem. It turns out, I looked back at the instructions in more detail. The top actually completely comes off, and when you completely pull it off, it slides in. I tried different hard drive trays, thinking maybe it was the tray or the way the hard drive was screwed in. None of them had success, so I thought it might have something to do with the case. Looked back at the instructions, and that happened. And I discovered the top case actually completely comes off. I'm putting the remaining drives back in now. And this time, all 4 are available. So, next step is to go ahead, screw these in, and there's one on each side for it. So you screw it in there, and you go around to the other side, do the same thing. Alright, and now that hard drive is completely secure. Now, from what I read online, different hard drives have different locking systems. Not all of them screw in like this. Some of them are hot swappable. Obviously, that's not going to be as hard to remove as this. This particular model does not have hot swappable drives, I believe, at least not in the feature set when it came with it. It's possible, I suppose, they upgraded it, but given that it's, you know, screwed in, it's not like you're really going to want to take all this stuff off to hot swap a drive with all these electronics exposed. Several of them seem to have some sort of clip or pop system to hold it in place. I've seen a lot of modern computer cases that actually have something like that too. Instead of screws for hard drive, they have snap cases where you basically snap it past a certain point and the middle snaps closed, holding it in place, and to pull it off you just use your fingers to hold it apart and pull it out. I honestly find those much more convenient in computer cases, and I have a feeling in this as well. And I just set a screw down there. I don't see it. I'm finishing putting the other one in now so I don't lose it. The other ones, I mean. Got 2 left over on this side. And then we will attempt to find that one that went down into the actual NAS. Granted, I am normally much more careful than this, but holding a camera, phone rather, while doing it is a bit on the tricky side. Now, where is that last screw? I hear it. That's not a good sound. I'm going to have to turn this thing upside down. Just going to use the camera here for a moment. There we go. Okay, well, it did not go in a dangerous place. It actually had fallen over there. So, back to doing this. Okay, place the case back on, and then we're to the point where we put the cable lock. Oh, okay, so that's what that does. To hold the cables in place for you. Now, slide this thing back in. It was a bit tricky to get off, but I think I can get it on with less difficulty here. Yeah. Alright. Close the case up. Make sure you don't pinch any wires here. That could be a bad thing to kill a fan cord. As you know, in addition to vibrations, heat will kill your hard drive. Push thumb screws back on. And there is, if you can see right here by that thumb screw, I don't use them personally, but if I lived in like a dorm or something, or a shadier neighborhood, I might. There's a Kensington lock slot for the NAS. Usually you don't see those on, computer equipment as much as you do actual computers, but given the price of this NAS and the value of the data that you're going to be keeping on it, I'm really not that surprised. They put one on there, and it's kind of a nice touch. This seems to be tight, like it doesn't want to pop on, and I'm going to take this one off real quick and make sure I'm not pinching any screws. Or not screws, wires. No, should be okay.